He's got speed, and they've also put the blinkers on him, so I'd imagine that he's going to be trying to be there and handy, and perhaps the blinkers just giving that little bit more focus. He's had the 2 runs to shine him up, and if he shows that speed again, he's a place chance here around this track.
Number 6, Rock Temple, $4.60, did reach $4. Now just getting back out to $4.20 from the stable.
Well, I think he's got to be a mix, because you go back through his form and you look at his early 2 runs this time back in. His second behind I'm No Phony was super at Kembla Grange, and then his run here at Canterbury was outstanding behind Citations. He was one that had to do all the work, got up outside the leader. Citations sat behind the leader, went bang, but nothing else could get past him. And he still was able to run second after doing all the work. Month's break since he failed the other day, gets the blinkers on, gets Glyn on board, and he should find a nice spot. There's speed outside of him, a lot of it, and a bit underneath him, so he should be able to find himself in a perfect spot. He's certainly one of the 4 leading chances.
Number 7 is Dark Envy, trained by Tim Rosehill, and trialled at Rosehill back in October, but resumes here without being to the trials.
Well, it was the interesting runner for my like, but looking at him here in the yard, I think he's going to take obviously plenty of benefit from today's performance going forward. I loved his trial back in October of last year. We hadn't seen him. I put him there in spec thinking, oh, look out. Him at the yard, he's got a nice big strong belly on him. He's only going to take benefit from today's run.
Number 8 is Worldly Wise, a $71 chance, trained by Greg Hickman.
Covered a bit of ground on debut at Hawkesbury in a weaker race than this. Gets a soft draw from the barrier, but it'll have to improve.
Number 9 is Amazon. Les Bridge prepares this horse, and I didn't think it was bad at Gossipy Leagues, but obviously this is a little bit stronger.
Certainly is. Gets a nice run from the barrier, though. Should just, posse up in a perfect spot, this filly. Thinks she's a great place chance here. In a race, obviously, with a lot more depth print, but she's certainly in the mix.
Number 10 is Hollywood Nell, 100-1 on course. Trained by Peter Stanley at Bathurst. Town hasn't had any public barrier trials, but debuted against Woodbine and wasn't disgraced, I thought, at Hawkesbury.
Yeah, I'm still beaten, comfortable. I know what you're saying. Earnest Desire come out of that same race. Remember, they ran along at a very good speed, which I think probably suited the filly. And then the next start, she's by Quest for Fame, and I think perhaps she may have been flattered that little bit on the head. It was a length by about 6. This is probably a step too far.
Mandalong Queen, can you see this roughie doing anything?
Blinkers might help. Gary Nixon, Jules Lux on board, and Jacques Lux on board. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that horse from last Saturday. Heading towards
Sweet Kiss?
No, not Sweet. Alpha Miss. Towards barrier, the blinkers go on. By Sebring too is having a terrific run, but it looks probably outgraded. Paul Massara joins me here. Havana, the blinkers off. First up, trials nice, wide barrier, big weight, but he's gelded.
Yeah, he's gelded. We made the big gear change and took the testicles off, but he's done really well since then. It was only in his mind last time. He was just a bit of a thinker and made a few mistakes, and it cost him a few races. He's
raced against some pretty handy gallopers. I suppose this is an important day for him today.
It is. He's got 59.5. I rang up and complained. They gave me a barrier 11, so it wasn't very easy. But
did you ring barriers come out?
I did, yeah.
Oh, bad move. Ring up after the barriers.
Big mistake. But listen, he's a class horse. I think he's a stakes quality horse, and he should be very hard to beat today.
What's been the difference with him, Paul, since he's had the gelding?
Just his attitude, the way he finishes off his work, and the trials. He's sprung out of the gates. He used to just play around a bit. He was more colt than being a malicious or kind of a destructive type of a horse. But now that he's been gelded, his mind's on the job.
Big difference we've seen at Lincoln, Rupee and Noidart, I suppose, 2 of the big headlines geldings of late.
Oh, absolutely. If they gelded me, I probably would have played for Australia, so that happens.
Oh, please. Good luck. I know you are. I'm tipping 2 Dane Hill Silence on board. I put Dark Envy in, it was the query runner, but it's friendless here on track and big in condition. 1 Havana. It looks between those 2 and number 6 Rock Temple, 2, 7, 1 and 6. Down the board, number 1 Havana's been $2.30 out to $2.70. Dane Hill Silence, $3.40, 80 now, pressing for favouritism, the debutante. 3's out. Sequential Cat has been $8 out to 11. Claradini's 31 out to $71. Rock Temple, $4.60 into $3.80, back to $4.60. Dark Envy, 9 out to $26. Worldly Wise, 51 to 81. Amazon, 17 to 21. Hollywood, 100 to 1. And Mandalong Queen is $81. I just got a feel the last 3 minutes there might be a move for the top one, don't you?
Yeah.
Just to match it out. But
well, it's been one-way traffic so far. They've matched up, like they've switched favourites on Bedford now. $3.05, the top one, $3. 298.
Live and the market movers number 2 Danehill Silence just 290. It's Havana's 280 still favourite, Brent, but the market movers for the debutante now $2.70 now, so it takes over the spotter's favourite number 2 Danehill Silence, 340 to 270. It's now favourite.
Looked to be coasting in its most recent barrage at Warwick Farm. James McDonald and Team Hawks, they've got a very good combination of late, and the punters seem to be getting it right when their horses are also winning. They've been heavily backed and been right on song when these horses have been strongly supported from the Hawks stable. $3.40 into $2.70, and now on course over Havana, which has continued to drift $2.20 out to $2.80.
They're still bidding a big percentage, and that's why the totes are holding up. Like you've got 340, 350 each of 2. Now they're shortening up the totes. 360, 280 now, the one Havana, which around will come in. $5.10 for Rock Temple. So the totes we're seeing on TV are a lot more up to date than the totes that are being displayed here for the punters on track. So on track, 270 Danehill Silence, 340 into 270. Havana's $2.80 and $4.60 Rock Temple. There's correct rate with Kite and the Fred Full. $1.75 into $1.50. Easy as you like. Stevie Baster for Mark Kavanagh. Vero Beach, 140, 104. Just nicked it for Ellen and Zara, 390. Coronation Gold. The winner is a colt by Fastnet Rock out of Bellevue Lady, Nadim and Swasia. They've switched around again here. Favourites now, number 1 Havana, now back into $2.70. No surprise. But the market mover is number 2 Danehill Silence in front of number 1 market mover in now $2.60 Havana. I reckon I just said that. Here we go, Brent. Market mover 2, but good money the favourite now. Yeah,
they have been heavily backed, the 2 of these horses. Money Danehill Silence, then switched around to Havana, who is now a clear favourite at $2.60. Both look as though they are nice horses. Both have to contend with wide barriers. We'll head up to Mark Sheen for the call of the action.
Thanks, Brent. Interesting race here with Havana coming back from a spell after being gelded, and Danehill Silence, who's had some barrier trials. He won a trial at Warwick Farm. He ran pretty slow sectionals in that trial. I'm not sure if that's flattered him a little bit, but he looked to have plenty in reserve, but the sectionals out of the trial were very slow. Rock Temple had some support early, but has now drifted and is out to $4.80, and Havana now firming again into $2.50. It's a bit of money for Sequential Cat pre-post, open $7 on track, out to 11 and back into 10, but I think they bid around $21 yesterday. And that was before the scratchy of winners, but that wouldn't take out too much of a deduction. Now, Danehill Silence is about to move in. Rock Temple's away. So too is Hollywood Nell. And Havana is out of the gates as well. So Havana and Hollywood Nell will be the last 2. This is the Get Racy. And Hollywood Nell went up into line. Set to go. They're off and racing now. Cat and Worldly Wise both missed it. Hollywood Nell might have got cut out there. It's ended up near the back as well. Claradini and Havana were the best into stride. Danehill Silence is showing a bit of speed. And then Rock Temple easing back to 4th, followed by Amazon, Dark Envy. Mandalong Queen's trapped out wide from Hollywood Nell. And then over on the inside is Worldly, who settles down second last. And going back to last of all is Sequential Cat. Havana got over and led now on the rail at the 600 from Danehill Silence. Mandalong Queen's coming up 3 wide, and then Claradini, Rock Temple, Dark Envy, Amazon back on the rail, and then further back behind them Hollywood Nell, Sequential Cat near the back of the field being hard ridden and wise. Into the straight, Havana just in front of Danehill Silence, and then Rock Temple getting into the clear, followed by Claradini as they run to the 250, and Havana got away here, led from Danehill Silence, Rock Temple running on, but Havana's gone into another gear. He slipped about 3 or 4 lengths in front, and he's going to win it comfortably. Havana coming down nicely from Rock Temple. Claradini looks to have just got 3rd in front of Amazon, who ran on well. Then Danehill Silence, followed further back by Worldly Wise, Sequential Cat, and then Dark Envy with Hollywood Nell, and last in was Mandalong Queen.
Havana much too strong. Number 1, Paul Massara and Nasrallah beat 6, Rock Temple, and 5, Claradini at big odds runs third, holds on, showing speed and getting into the placings at big odds. Disappointment of the race was Danehill Silence on debut, but all honours with this horse. You can see there, Nash going to the post with a tight grip on Havana. He had to do a lot of work from the outside gate, but he was above his rivals.
He's a carnival horse, and that was what we expected with it being gelded. Paul was confident, and if he was going to be a carnival player, he had to do that to them, and he did. He's won running away. 280 back in the 260 late, 260 on the best take, 240 New South Wales, I think it was. But wow, that was an absolute galloping job. Put the Danehill Silence. Look, I wouldn't give up on it. It was on debut, very new. Rock Temple was good. Back to the inside with the blinkers on, and it's got plenty of speed. Claradini at 80 to 1 runs third, just in front of Les Bridges' galloper, who was charging home Amazon. So the numbers here are 1, 6, 5 and 9, 5 and 9. Very late, Brent, and we mentioned it before we went to Mark Sheen. A big play come for the winner.
And it probably just shows you the difference between horses that are going to be contenders during a carnival and those who, at this stage, probably not quite up to that level. This horse has finished 4 lengths off Guelph in a Group 1 Champagne Stakes. It's been listed level, Group 2 level right throughout its career, and drops back, gelded first up and gets the job done. And I can imagine quite a pleasing result for trainer Paul Massara.
Happy, relieved, and you know that when we get to the big races, you're going to have a horse there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's always been a class horse, and gelding's made all the difference, and today he showed it.
I know he did a lot of work, but the best part, when Nash just gave him that little kick, he put 4 on him in 2 strides. Good horses do that.
Yeah, he lengthened out very quickly and found the line. I think under not too much pressure. I mean, he was on his own really right up the straight, and he's a relatively inexperienced horse, and I think today he showed him what he can do.
Never easy when they got well-bred horses to make that decision to Gilder. I suppose it's better than having a slow colt at home.
It is, and he was such a good type, and he was such a nice horse, and he showed glimpses of what he could do. It was a hard decision to make, but I think it's been the right one.
Back of your mind, you would have had the thought process. Where do you think we might see him again?
Well, probably Derby Munro in 2.5 weeks.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a nice horse, no doubt about that. And Nasrallah gets home on him big. The gelding's done in the world of good. Number 1, Havana, the gelding by Starcraft out of Top Cuban. And it was his first win, but it was an absolute dominant win too. And Nash in the Arrowfield colours. And he was pretty impressive, Nash too.
Yeah, look, I rode him in the spring, and I don't think I've ever been so uncomplimentary about such a good... But this time back in, I got booked for his first trial and fell in love with him straight away, to be honest. And it's a good buzz to see him come here and do that today.
What did you say to Paul? When you let go, he put 4 lengths on quickly.
He did, yeah. His turn of foot surprised me, but what I really did like about it, sort of at me top to get across him, but when I asked him to relax, he pricked his ears and come back underneath me in a second and a half, and from that point on I was pretty confident.
Well done.
Thanks.
Nash and Paul Massara, and it started favourite. 4 lengths the margin, a widening. 4 lengths a length, 103.57, 65. Pretty good sectionals around here at Canterbury Park. And Havana wins, beating Rock Temple and Claradini. We're taking a break. It's Race Day Live. We're back to Kyneton. Can the favourites continue down there at Kyneton? We'll find out the other side of this break.